I'm Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where me and my friends talk about nostalgic moments and pop culture from our childhoods. We interview people such as actors, producers, composers, puppeteers, and more. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, talk about behind-the-scenes moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello, everyone. And welcome to another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Bixby, and with me today I have our other co-hosts, Wyatt McCullough, Matt Bingel, and of course Marty Monster, and of course our host, Jake Deffinbaugh. How are you guys?
Doing great as always. Doing great.
And
nostalgia as always there.
Yes, nostalgic as always. Very excited about today's guest. He, I guess you could say he's a local. In a way, he's a local musician in my area because, you know, he's in Massachusetts. For those PBS fans out there, PBS watchers, you've probably seen some of his music videos on Rhode Island PBS.
Yep.
He's written, children's books. He's done a lot of wonderful things. Here he is, Bill Harley. How are you, Bill?
I'm good, guys. It's nice to see you all.
I don't know. Nice to see
you too.
You
too.
See you too.
Yeah, all of you. All species.
Yeah.
It's different to have a children's musician that didn't work at the Wiggles on for once.
For once?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not. I didn't do that. No, that was not.
No.
Yeah. No, but so I guess to start this off, so we know who you are, but for those who don't know who you are, can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I always kind of hesitate when I say that because it's like, which hat do I want to wear?
Yeah.
People, So I'm a songwriter and a storyteller.
Yeah.
And an author. And most of my work has been with kids and families, although I do perform for adults too.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. It feels like forever. I've been doing it for well over 40 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, and I've got, 45 recordings and 15 or 16 books, and I've done a bunch of. I used to actually, I was a commentator on All Things Considered, NPR.
Oh wow.
For 20 years. Which seems like it was about 15 years ago. So it's funny, if you live long enough, you say 20 years ago, it's like, yeah, I just did that. So I've kind of figured a way to make a living kind of on the side of mainstream culture, is how I would say,
Yeah.
But doing all those things.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So how did you first get into making children's music?
Well, when I was in college, I got a guitar. I played keyboards too. I played in a really bad rock band. Started writing songs, and friends of mine and I, when we were in college, we started a day camp during the summer, so we could all kind of stay in the town we were in.
Right.
And I mean, it was just this time when there was a time back then. I mean, there was a guy who was a principal of the junior high school who we went to, and he was a pretty good guy. He said, "Yeah, you can do it at the junior high school, sure." And it was kind of loose. I mean, I guess we were insured by them, but we kind of didn't know what we were doing, but we made it up. And I think it was $15 a week for a kid to come there for, 5 days a week for 6 hours a day. The parents were, this is a great. So
parents are paying.
Suddenly there were 4 of us, and we got high school volunteers. We had 80 kids we had to take care of, and so I had this guitar, and we would sing songs at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, when things were beginning to fall apart, they'd all say, "Go see Bill." So for the last,
there you go,
before anyone dies. So I kind of developed this bunch of songs. I don't think I had written kids songs when I first started out, but then I started to, and then a bunch of songs, and then a couple stories that I would do. So that was kind of cut my teeth on that. When I got to school, I did a couple other jobs, but I was always performing on the side. And,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a very organic thing, and now I figure I've been well over 3,000 schools in 49 states. And half dozen different countries. So Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
That is crazy.
What a journey you had.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Was making music always a passion of yours?
Yeah, I mean, I love music, and I was,
Yeah.
it was one of those things. I think if I knew I was going to do it for a living, I would have been. I always figure, 16-year-olds go into their room and they close the door, and they could have something in there or not.
He's around that area.
Yeah,
Around that age.
you could be doing something. I don't know what. And
Yeah.
like, I knew I was going to do this from musicians use the term woodshedding, which is they just go off someplace for 5 months and they come out and suddenly they're, Joe Bonamassa or somebody, I don't know, some shredder. But I always played music. I ended up picking up stuff a lot on the side. And I've also, I studied some jazz piano, some jazz theory and harmony, and kind of got involved with a lot of folk stuff. And so I'm pretty eclectic in my tastes, and I've always kind of experimented with different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny thing, we actually previously interviewed Dan and Claudia Zanes.
Yep.
You or
Yeah.
Yep.
And Claudia Zanes
They're
also studied jazz,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
she also had a jazz background, yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, people come to kids' music from a lot of different directions. But I was always interested in doing it. It wasn't like I had a rock band and retired and said, I think I'll perform for kids. It was just something I always did. And I think because my work skews a little bit older than a lot of other kids' music. I was always interested in narrative. I'm interested in, I love 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
They'll still go with you. They're not totally jaded, but they can also handle a bunch of stuff. They can handle plot. They've got some sense of irony and sarcasm and all that stuff.
I can definitely tell because it's amazing.
Yeah.
How about you ask the next one?
Yeah, I get to go early this time. About
Yeah, we're
time.
gonna
Yeah.
let Jake blame Jakey for last time.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anyway.
Who were some of your musical inspirations?
Well, I listened to a lot of different stuff, but when I was kind of growing up, coming of age, musically, I listened to a whole lot of rock stuff. I ended up almost by accident taking piano lessons when I was in high school from this very accomplished jazz teacher. I didn't even want to learn jazz piano, but that's who I ended up. So I ended up listening to a lot of jazz. But when I started to play guitar and write, I ended up listening to, a lot of songwriters, James Taylor and Jackson Browne were just becoming, I think I was a senior in high school when Fire and Rain came out, so I've been around for a long time. Jackson Browne I really liked. I loved Steve Goodman. Steve Goodman is a songwriter from Chicago.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know him. He wrote City of New Orleans and a bunch of stuff. And he's just a really great guy, really good musician. And he was buddies with John Prine. So coming kind of out of that songwriting school. And then I ended up hooking up with a lot of folk musicians. I ended up, in terms of me performing, I was really influenced by Pete Seeger. I grew up, when I started to listen a lot, I listened to a lot of Woody. And I ended up doing a fair amount of work with Pete and getting to know him pretty well. And he was definitely a big influence for me on what, I think music is about. Especially when you're working with an audience, that Pete's perception was that music is first about community. That's what its main function is. And when it's gotten commercialized, it's become much more of a kind of solitary experience or something. I mean, it's like where the love song, kind of rules. But mostly, historically, people have used song to express community. And I learned that from working with Pete, and it's definitely part of what I do as a performer. And with storytelling too. And the story thing is a really big part of what I do. I think the story and song have always gone together traditionally, and I'm really interested in how they work, how you can tell a story in a song, you can use a song to tell a story, or they can complement each other, one leads to another. And so that's
awesome.
So Pete, those guys, Arlo, then the stuff with storytelling, Arlo Guthrie was being influenced on me. I was really influenced by Utah Phillips, who's a singer, and I ended up working with Bruce a fair amount, and he was very supportive of, and he was really a character, and he used language and story really well. His buddy Rosalie Sorrells. Ended up working with Rosalie, and she'd been a folk singer for years, and she said to me, "I just can't believe I can make more money talking than I can singing." When she had kind of found the storytelling world, not that she ever made tons of it. So, like on this grassroots level, there were a lot of people, storytellers are a lot of people that influenced me too. But there was this grassroots level people I ended up working with and watching, and then there were the people who, kind of farther in some bigger circle, that I might have waved to once someplace.
Yeah. Jake, guess the next one.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite songs you ever written and performed?
It's kind of like talking about your children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have kids, but we understand.
Yeah, no, but it's just like, I don't want to trash one of them.
Jake has a kid over there.
I'll hear about it. How could you not pick me? It's a funny thing because there's some things that you write and you think, oh, this is a really great song, and it kind of sits there. And then there's some stuff you kind of throw off, and then that's the song that everybody wants to hear. I got this one song. I got my guitar here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So this is, oops. I won't sing this whole song. I'll just sing this verse. Like this song, like in terms of really good songwriting, hardly anybody knows this song, but I just feel like I got this song. I'll just sing the first verse. Should have tuned. Cars full, trunks packed, stuff on the roof rack.
Oh, wow.
Mom says we leave soon. Last time in my room. One last look out the window. The yard, the street, the place I know. I go, they stay. It's moving day. Here's where, I guess I'll just do the whole song. Should I do it? Here's where my bed stood.
Good.
Floors made of old wood.
Oh, wow.
Mom left the light on. The walls marked with crayon. The place I cried when I was sad. The door I slammed when I was mad. I go, they stay. It's moving day. When I grow up, I might come back to this place again. If I find some kid lives here, I'll tell them who I am. Let's go, Dad calls. I guess that's all. Goodbye house, goodbye room. I won't be back soon. Down the steps, out the front door. Now I don't live here anymore, but part of my heart stays on moving day. It's moving day.
Wow.
Oh my.
I definitely want you to come back after that because you're the first.
You know what's funny?
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to
That's
say. Out of all,
That's awesome.
because we've had a
Definitely come
couple.
back if you want.
We've
to.
had a couple of musicians and singers on in the past. You're the first one who's
That's all right.
Sung some
Yeah,
for
that's
us.
a
Yeah.
first. That's a first.
Well, this guitar's sitting right here. You know,
I'm just going to ask this.
We're a part of
That was
history.
amazing.
I've got songs.
That's
I'm just going to ask
crazy.
this now because that was amazing. Would you come back to the
That was-
podcast in the future and do more of that for us?
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Like not tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
No, not tomorrow. No.
We got another interview
No,
tomorrow
not
anyway.
tomorrow.
There's stuff to
Tomorrow.
do.
Chris will let you know.
So do we. So do
That
we.
song is like, I mean, it's not like there's other songs that of mine that people definitely want to hear. Like,
Yeah.
Trouble
Speaking of songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
you mentioned songs. There's one song that we're dying to know. So you have a song called "Dad Threw the TV Out the Window." Was
Yeah.
that based on a true story?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he's embarrassed about it, so he doesn't really want me to use his name. But
Yeah.
That's
he had
fine.
a son, and he
Funny.
called me up and he said, "God, I'm so embarrassed. I got so mad at him, and he told me his son wasn't listening, and his teenage son. He was sitting there watching television, so." And Michael's got a temper, and he just picked the TV and threw it out the window. I was like, man.
Oh my.
I said, "Don't worry, Michael. I won't tell anybody." So, but it actually took me a long time to write that song because then, like, where's it going? And mostly, I was just talking about, our addiction to. I mean, I wrote that song. Jeez,
Yeah.
I wrote that song in 1987, but it's, still our addiction to our devices, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still good.
to go.
Listening to
Yeah.
it the first time the other day, I liked it.
Yeah, no, it's still. It still works because it's just about us not paying attention to what's. I always thought I wanted to develop an app for phones that just says "Here Now," and it's this incredible thing where you push the app and the phone goes off, and suddenly you're aware of the world around you.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. You don't know what's going to hit. Like "You're in Trouble's big. There's a PM.
Yeah.
I've one of my longer stories called Zanzibar, about me like procrastinating on homework. It just kind of blew up. They played it 3 years in a row on Labor Day on All Things Considered, and then
Oh wow.
they play it. The Montana Public Radio's got a kids show, and they play that piece all the time. It's 25 minutes,
Wow.
NPR took a half hour of a news show to play that piece. They won't do that anymore, but it took a half hour of a news show to play that story. So some of this, you just don't know, what's
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know.
No.
Talking about favorite songs, one of my favorites, of course, is "Wash Your Hands." 'Cause
Yes.
that's kind of how
Oh,
I
yeah.
first heard of you, was seeing that music video on Rhode Island PBS years ago.
Yeah, I was.
I'm sure they probably still play it.
They do. I know, and
Oh, nice.
Wow.
yeah. I don't know if I get residuals for that if I'd known, but I think I just gave it. I remember, but I wrote that song. I was artist in residence at the Paul Coffey School in Providence for 10 years, and
Yeah.
it was like the early 2000s. There was a flu epidemic, and so I wrote that song for that, and then we recorded and made a video, and I wrote it with kids at the school, and then we made a video of it. And actually, some of those kids are from Paul Coffey School. We did it 4 or 5 years later, and I don't know, it's just got it's one of those things, and it kind of. Yeah, they still show it. I was doing a show in some inner city park in Providence. This kid comes up on a bicycle and he goes, "Hey!" It's kind of like, really, "Hey!" I said, "What?" He said, "You're the wash your hands guy." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." Bye sightings.
Just
That's
know you.
awesome. I think
crazy.
with, of course, what's been going on in the world, of course,
People need it.
recently, I think that song definitely
Yeah.
still works, and
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Indeed.
yeah.
definitely,
It's
Mhm.
current, forever. It's current.
yes,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. So talking about Rhode Island PBS, what was it like to have your songs featured on PBS?
I can't remember how we hooked up, but I think that I can't remember if I approached them. It's great, You just, there's the especially stuff like that. I don't do a lot of like prescriptive songs, like telling children how they're supposed to behave. Mostly, I talk about how they behave. Like, does this happen to you? But public health stuff, that one, I got one about wearing your bicycle helmet, because it's like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's like my feeling. It's like, would you just get the shot? Would you just put the helmet on? Would you just wash your hands before you get on? I just
There
don't.
you go.
You know. But I mean, it's great. It's great. And the thing is, I mean, I've had a long career, and stuff comes from
Everywhere.
an oblique angle that you don't expect it happening.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like I'm intent. I was like, I used to be hungrier, but now I'm just trying to get through the day.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Matt asked the next question. We don't want you to end up last. We'll let Jakey do that.
Actually, Marty, why don't you
boy.
answer the next question?
Yeah, Marty, you
yeah.
ask it. Jakey,
Come on,
good
Marty.
idea.
Okay, yes, they have it, Jakey.
Very well behaved for a puppet, I have to say. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
He's been doing it for 2 years this month.
yeah, 2 years.
He has his moments, but he tries to be.
Well, yeah, I have my moments. Do you have any fun experiences from your live performances over the years?
Fun experience. Yeah, stuff happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this. I was doing, a bunch of stuff. You mean nightmares, bad experiences, and just I have this song, sitting down to eat. Right. Just sitting down to eat, just about to begin. There was a knock on the door, said, "Can I come in?" I opened up the door. What did I see? It was a great big elephant looking at me. I said, "Oh no, what you gonna do? You got enough for one, you got enough for two, you got enough for me." Yes, that's true. If you got enough for me, I guess I got enough for you. So I do this thing with that song where I take a kid up from the audience, right? And I say,
Wow.
okay, you just sit right here, and when I point at you, I want you to say the name of a large animal.
Okay.
And so
Oh.
this whole shticky thing I do where, like, they say an animal, and I stop and go, "Whoa, man, I was thinking elephant." And then the next animal, he says tiger. He says, "Whoa, I was thinking tiger." You read people's minds, and then we go 3 or 4, and then he says something, and I go, "Wait, I thought it was like hippo." He said, "No, it's not hippo." So we get in this thing, and then I start crying, and okay. You know, it's just this dumb thing, but it's just me playing. So I was doing this once, and I said, this kid, it's like a 9-year-old boy, like a 4th grader. I said, "Wow, can you read people's minds?" And he said, "No, but I can hypnotize people." I was like, oh. So I said, "Okay, stop." So I put the guitar down, like, okay, forget the rest of the show. This is awesome. So I said, "Could you hypnotize?" And there's like 400 people there. I said, "Could you hypnotize me right now?" And he said, "Yeah, I can." So I said, "Okay, like, you know, Jimmy's going to hypnotize me, right?" And so he looks at me. I don't know if this, and he's like, his eye, he just starts like, oh, he's, oh. So I just like fell off the chair and lay on the gate.
Oh boy.
Oh no!
Wake me up. And he said, "Okay, you may wake." Oh my God. I thought I was going to die.
That's funny.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So,
Don't need to drink anything while watching this video. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, same goes for our next episode too. Just want to say that in advance. Yeah.
so, I mean, that happens sometimes, you know, especially telling stories. I was in a, I was telling stories last week in the school up in Weston. I can't remember someplace, and the kid is like, and so I don't know, it was like prolonging what was going to happen, but, you know, I was taken out, and the kid stands up and he goes, "Could you just tell us how this story ends? Can you just tell us now?" So I just stopped. I said, "No, man, that's what the story is about finding out how you get there." It's like if I just said there was a kid and he, you know, and he won the race, like, that's no story. And so it was just, but the kid just stand up and Will said, can you just stop all this?" And so I love it when that stuff happens, as long as they're not mean, you know.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Kids coming up afterwards.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not rehearsed. It's just live. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, well, I love it, and that's what I love about it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna bring this up. It's like Matt's Bingel live. They're not
it's just-
scripted. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's just like our little show.
Yeah, he does does live streams with his puppet Marty and some of his other
Julius
friends, and
also.
it's not scripted. It's all
It's
of
crazy.
course,
That's
live.
what's gonna
scripted.
happen.
because-
It's not scripted.
Especially the guest on the next episode.
No, the puppet's great because the puppet says the stuff that you can't say.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly
You're
what
the
it-
first person to point that out.
That's
Nobody else
what
has.
makes the show
No,
better.
that's the beauty of it, and it's like I can't help it.
We
you know,
can't either.
I gotta tell you, I did a million years ago. I was on A&M Records, and
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I was asked to do the Sting decided he wanted to have a rainforest benefit for families, so
Yeah.
I got invited out at the Greek Theater in L.A. Right,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, it's like Don Henley for some reason was there, and
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
For some reason.
but I mean, it was a kids show. Like, what did he know? But
Gosh.
you know who was there was Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Ah,
Oh,
wow.
no way.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I had talked to him
Nice.
before, so I spent
amazing.
a half hour in the dressing room with just Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
That is awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm going to
When
tell
you
you,
get the
Lamb Chop was real.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Chop is very.
Lamb chop's
Lamb chop's
amazing.
still around to this
Yes.
day. I mean, there's lamb chop dog toys and other stuff.
yeah, shit,
Well,
I
what?
couldn't. There was complete separation between Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Oh,
And Lamb Chop, of course,
Yep.
her saying all the stuff that Sherry wouldn't say. You know, I
Yeah.
just
Yep.
was like, what was the biggest? What was a big point in your career? It's like talking to Lamb Chop, kind of. You know.
Yeah.
No, but Matt, there is lamb chop dog toys. I've seen them in public.
That's
I did not know that.
Interesting.
You don't even have a pet, so you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've seen them at Kroger's.
Oh, great.
Anyway.
so.
Great. They exist.
Jakey, ask the next question.
hmm Do you have a favorite touring location?
Well, I had mentioned. I mean, there's some places I go back to regularly.
Right.
I had mentioned that the Montana Public Radio has this afternoon kids show, and they play me. So it's like Tom Waits. I'm big in Japan. You know, like I'm big in Montana. I go there and the play. It's the first time I went there. You know, I sold out this like 2,000 seat theater. And I said, "Man, you guys, you really need to get out a little bit more." I'm telling you. But I love going there. Plus, it's drop dead gorgeous. I've performed a bunch of times, and I will be this fall at the National Storytelling Festival, which is in
Oh.
Oh
it's
wow.
in Eastern
Nice,
Tennessee,
nice.
it's in Jonesboro, Tennessee, and it's an amazing experience because this tent's filled with 1,500 people, and they're listening. They're such incredible listeners. So I can tell a story that goes 30, 35 minutes long, no problem, and everybody is
Wow.
completely there. So
hmm
that's an amazing thing. And I mean, no, I love working in schools. I really do. At this point, I'm not trying to prove anything. All I'm trying to do is be with kids, and especially now, now with COVID, but also the curriculum stuff is so intense.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like a guerrilla attack on the school. It's like for 50 minutes, the teachers don't have to be teachers, the kids don't have to be students. We're all just there together. And you know, the teacher said, "Man, I love watching my kids when they're listening to you tell stories. I never get to see them. I'm so busy making them do stuff." So it's a pretty good drug, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
definitely. So how did your we've talked a lot about music, all that stuff, and I know you also wrote some children's books. How did that all come about?
Well, so my mom wrote for kids, actually.
Yeah.
My mom
Wow.
wrote.
Wow.
She wrote for, before Scholastic magazine came to schools, there was My Weekly Reader. And so
Oh.
she wrote stories for My Weekly Reader. So like writing was always something in our, it was part of what our family did. But
Yeah.
when I started getting known for storytelling, I would, a number of times people would come up to me afterwards and said, "Have you ever thought about making your stories into books?" And finally there was an editor, Nicole Geiger, who was at 10 Speed Press, who I sent her a bunch of stories and she thought, "Let's do this." So I started working on it, and then I started to write some longer things too. And I'm not. I mean, I've had surprising, and it's not like overwhelming success, and it's not like million. Just like in literature, just like everything else, you see the 1%. You don't see that most people are just like working in the trenches trying to figure out. It's it's really a hustle. It's really hard. And I've written a lot of books, and a lot of them I've tried to get published, and I haven't. But I do have this relationship with my publisher now, who's done. We did 2-3 novels, and I did a couple picture books, and I did this whole series of about a kid in fourth grade, the Charlie Bumper series. There's 7 of those.
Wow.
And I had a new book come out this fall called Now You Say Yes. It's right here.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, wow, nice.
It's
cool.
it's about a 15-year-old girl who's she's adopted out of a family, and she her mom dies, and she's afraid she's going to get in the foster family, so she takes her younger brother, who's kind of on the spectrum. He's spectrum-y. And she convinced him to get in the car, and they drive from L.A. to the Boston area to hope their grandmother's going to take him in, but they don't really know. So they drive across the country, and it's the summer of the eclipse, 2017. So that just came out. I'm working on another one. So it's something I'm pretty like kind of a magpie. I'm just attracted to bright, shiny objects, and I'll say, well, let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. So that's one of the things I try to do, in addition to writing songs and stories and whatever else I think of today. I managed to, like I said, I kind of managed to figure out to live over on this side of the culture without. I was talking with somebody about it. I said, there's still part of me. It feels like someday, somebody's gonna come up to me and go, Mr. Harley, it's just come to our attention that you're actually making a living doing this. We're sorry, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. What you're doing is absolutely ridiculous, and you're going to have to stop right now, because it is a little ridiculous, but it's also great. It's not
right.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for reading them, reading your books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to buy one soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And one of them, actually, Night of the Spadefoot Toads, has ended up. It's kind of an environmental book. Takes place like right around where I live, and it's a kid who moves here, and he discovers there's this endangered species around here called the spadefoot toads, and he's trying to save habitat. And it's ended up in these curriculums like all over the country. I just got letters this week from kids and 5th graders in New York City are reading it. I heard from somebody in South Dakota, somebody in Maryland and Delaware. So it's kind of
nice.
Doing its
Nice.
Nice.
Who knew?
Nothing ever comes to Maryland. There you go, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever performed in Cape Cod? Because that's where I am.
Oh yeah. I actually did. Well, let me see. I think last summer I did a show out in Orleans at the library.
I love Orleans.
Yeah, off and on. And there's a bunch of schools in Barnstable, and yeah, I'm out there. I love coming out there.
Hopefully you come to Ohio also.
Yeah, well, I'm from Ohio. Where in Ohio?
Wow.
Oh,
That's crazy. That's where I'm located.
I think yeah. So we're in Ohio. Are you?
Yeah, we're in Ohio.
I know,
I'm
That doesn't help much.
Grove City, Ohio.
Where's
Columbus.
that?
Columbus.
Oh, Columbus. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom grew up in Columbus. My
wow.
there. So
That's awesome.
I was born in Greenville, which is north of Dayton, on the Indiana line. Yeah.
I'd love to see a show sometime. I've been on the Cape now for 15 years. I've been here like most of my life.
Meet up
yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if people are interested, I mean, if you go to my webpage, you can sign up by the schedule, and also if you sign up, we won't bother you, but it won't ask you if you want to sell your house or whatever.
Nobody's ever asked that.
I know.
We get that on and on.
We're getting texts from people saying, "Do you want to sell your house?" Like, no. Where would I live?
No.
But anyway, we'll let you know if we'll let people know if if I'm in the area.
Matt will definitely sign up for it because Matt will bring Marty and Julius as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will. I'll definitely bring you. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, how did it feel to win so many awards for your works? You have won awards.
A lot,
I
a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah. Well, it's good because it's good to win the stuff because performers. Honestly, I mean, people perform for a bunch of different reasons, but one of them
Right.
is because they need people to tell them that they're okay, which is a
Yeah.
little bit pathetic, but it is the way it is.
Mhm.
It's the past couple of years, 2 years have been rough because I haven't seen anybody, and it's
Yeah.
like, my
Yeah.
wife loves
It's a
me,
very
but
tough time.
how good am I? It's like, yay! They're not. I mean, it's not getting much applause around here. It's just,
Mhm.
Yeah.
um,
It's kind of weird
so
from that
it's good
point.
to get the awards, but I mean, because I've done this so long, and I've seen that, it's not enough. I mean, it's not. A lot of people, if you win an award, you probably deserved it. If you didn't win it, it doesn't mean you didn't deserve it. I mean, it's like a lot of people never win awards.
Yeah.
Really great work.
Mhm.
And so I've been lucky.
Mhm.
A bunch of things come to me, and a lot of it is kind of hanging in there. I mean, I've been nominated 7 times for Grammys, and the first three times I didn't win, and it's kind of it's kind of a bummer.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody
Yeah,
says
wait
it's
to
just
think
an
about
honor
it.
to be nominated, but
Mhm.
you go out there to Los Angeles and you spend all this money to get out there, and then you sit there and they don't call your name. That's kind of it's hard. And I
I
mean,
bet.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then they say your name and you go, it's like you're like Sally Fields. Oh, you do like me, but they don't. I mean, they're not your
There you go.
friends. I mean, some of them are. Some people voted for me are friends, but mostly, and so they're people I don't know. So
Yeah.
yes, but it is great. It's affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Indeed.
People need affirmation for their work, and if
They
you
do.
don't get some, it'll kill you.
Yeah.
Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite award that you've won?
Well, one of the ones that was I mean, it's great to win a Grammy, and I mean, the first time you go, you've got to be kidding me. Especially because it's like our label. I mean, it was not. When I won, I wasn't on some major label. It was just like all my CDs are in my basement, So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think I beat Elmo that year. I knew the guy who was writing songs for Elmo. He's like, God, Harley, I hate you. It's like, okay,
Wow. You beat him up.
Wow. Wow.
we're always nervous when you get nominated. We're afraid we're going to lose. It's like, you're the Muppets. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Although he's a great songwriter. Ed's a great songwriter. But anyway, about 8 and 9 years ago, maybe it was 10. I don't know. I got this award from the Rhode Island Council for the Humanities for my work, and that was kind of like a really left field. Because what that meant to me was I was important to the community that I was in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
and that's a more important measure, I think.
Mhm.
I got a cultural function. I got a job to do other than just being known. I mean, I love making kids laugh, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to say some stuff about who we are in the world and how we relate to each other. So when somebody like the Arts Council, the Humanities Council recognizes that,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, can you share anything you're working on now?
Yeah, let me see. Well, I'm working on a couple things now. I'm trying to think if I got
Nice.
I haven't been writing very many songs lately. I'm working on this long book, and I'm really struggling with it. It's about a kid who becomes a storyteller. It's like a fantasy. So
Oh.
everything about
Oh.
storytelling, I get to say everything about storytelling I want to say.
Oh,
And I think it's when I finish it, I think it's going to be good. So I'm psyched about that.
Yeah.
I also there's a radio drama in production by BYU Productions out in Utah. It's 17 episodes. It's about a kid in middle school who's a detective, and he's a total screw up. and he's got a partner who's only concerned about where his next meal is coming from, and it's pretty funny. They're producing it. I mean, it's hung up in production. I don't know what, so I've been going back and forth with them on that, and I'm actually the pandemic really threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Like all of us does too.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I was probably doing, I used to do 200 shows a year. I was probably doing 70 or 80 shows a year, and it kind of organizes your life, and suddenly it was gone. So it really it's taken me a while, but now I'm thinking about what's next. I'm actually thinking about doing a podcast of stories.
You should.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
If you want to,
I had it
go
in
for
mind.
it. You know?
I got to get
If
it.
you want us to, we'll come on it.
Okay.
We've never been. Here's the thing. We've
That would
been
be
on this
funny.
podcast for a year now. We haven't been asked to be on any other ones.
Not yet. Who knows?
Anyway.
Not yet.
Well, it's like it is
Awesome.
with me. It's like I'm a good guitar player. I'm a good rhythm guitar player.
Yeah.
A good guitar player.
Yeah.
And I have when I make a recording, I have great musicians play on my recording. I remember Mark Knopfler said, "When I make a recording, my job is to be the worst musician in the room," which is saying something coming from Mark Knopfler. On the other hand, I've never had anybody ask me to play guitar on their recording. I'm a good guitar player. Why wouldn't you hire a great guitar player?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Matt, why don't you ask the next question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is there any advice you want to give to someone who wants to get into writing or making music?
Well, you have to. You got to work on your craft. You've got to. So you really have to. You got to practice, and pay attention to people who are songwriters, or if that's what you're going to be. That's mostly what I am. Like I said, I'm a good musician. I'm a really good songwriter. Relatively to my other skills. So you have to pay attention to the craft. And then I think the other thing is, especially if you're starting out, you just have to find a place to play regularly. That you've got to do that. And it doesn't initially, it's really hard to make a living as a musician now. It's so horrible what's happened to musicians in today's world. Nothing has value. Nothing has any value. It's like recording music has no assigned value. But you gotta hone your skills. You need to stand up in front of people, and so like when I first started out, I went to 2 or 3 libraries, and I said I want to come there once a week and tell stories, and all of them found some money. But I said if you can't find the money, I'm still going to do it. So you gotta find a place.
Yeah.
My favorite thing their performer says everybody needs a safe place to fall. So you got to find those places where you can perform and find out who you are. You got to find kind of what your voice is. Like, what are you talking about? How are you writing your songs? How are you telling your stories? That's you.
Exactly.
And your skills have to be good enough so that you don't notice them. If you look at really good songwriters, a lot of them are not great singers, but their voice doesn't get in the way of the song, or the guitar playing doesn't get in the way of the song.
Yes.
If what you want to do is a guitar player, then
do it.
Guitar players. There's 2 million great guitar players. So the question is, what do you have? What are you doing? And that's finding your voice.
Yeah.
Finding your voice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you like to say to your fans?
Well, mostly thanks. Like I said before, it's like, wow, we pulled this off. I'm not dead yet. No, he is. No, he's dead. Shut up. No, I'm not dead yet. Yeah, mostly thanks. I'll let you know if people are interested in want to know what's going on. They should just sign up for a newsletter. I put it out 3 or 4 times a year. I let people know what I'm up to.
Nice.
And it's always different because
Right.
And at this point now, I'm at a point where I really only have to do what I want. When you're first starting out, you have to do everything, and I like my kids are out the door. They're grown and paid for, and I don't think they're coming back. Who knows? So I'm kind of free to figure out what's next, and that's kind of actually what I'm doing right now. So
Nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
If people want to contact you, where can people find you?
Just go to my webpage, billharley.com.
Your website's going to be in the description down below.
I've got a bunch of recorded shows on YouTube. At the beginning of the pandemic, I did 2 shows a week for I said I thought I could outtell the pandemic because I have about 60 hours of material. I just or 50.
Wow.
I don't know. I was like, but it beat me. I think I did about 25, 30 weeks. I don't know of 2 shows a week of 45 or 50 minutes. I don't know. I don't know how many shows. I did a lot. And all that stuff is up there if people don't have anything to do with themselves.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. So, where can people listen to your music and buy your books?
So, well, if you go to my website, you can find all this stuff. You can download it. A bunch of my stuff is on Spotify and Apple. Not all of it. I didn't put stuff on Spotify for the first 2 or 3 years because I was so annoyed at the legal theft that was going on. And then my sons, who are both songwriters, said, "Dad, give it up. Just put it on there." And we don't have it all, but a lot of it's up there that you can hear.
Yeah.
And find on my webpage. I mean, if you Google me, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you find the website too if you Google you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. I'm out there wandering around.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what, Jake, why don't you ask the last question?
You haven't asked it in a while.
Yeah. Well, since this podcast is Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, when you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or what you think that defines nostalgia to you?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because nostalgia is kind of I think there's a certain aspect of nostalgia which is comfort,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and so it's kind of like macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good food too.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a good food because you ate it when you were a kid and you put it in your mouth.
Right.
You go, oh.
Yeah.
So,
You're probably gonna
And I
use
do
not same
hear-
reaction to this day,
Yeah, I mean, Monsters in the Bathroom was my first recording. I barely knew what I was doing, and I do shows now, and some 35-year-old guy comes up. He's holding. I mean, we don't sell it, but he's bought my CD. He's like, "I can't believe I've got this." So, and they're passing the curse on to their children, which is awesome. But I also, I should say though, when I was writing, always when I've been writing songs, I'm always thinking about what is this about who kids are, and I always felt I've tried to be careful about not talking about what's current in terms of what's the latest fad in terms of technology or video games or all that stuff, but maybe talk more about the emotional stuff that kids are going through. And as a result, the songs that I wrote 40 years ago, they still work. When I sing it, the kids will laugh. And so I like to think that my stuff is just not nostalgia in the sense of, oh, I remember that. But also it's she does say something about who kids are or who parents are or who we are. So I kind of hope it transcends just the macaroni and cheese. Although I have the song Macaroni and Cheese, as you may know.
After we do our outros, will you play us out?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to find this song that I wrote, and I can't. I'm trying to find it.
But yeah, thank you
Okay.
so much for coming on. It's
Yeah,
been an
thank you so
absolute
much.
blast.
Blast.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah, it's been a blast. We'll definitely have you back on in the future.
I hope I
Yes.
didn't ruin your lives. So.
No, I've
No.
been a fan of yours since. Oh God, when was the first time I heard? Probably back in like 2012, 2013, around there.
Well, we finally talked to him, Chris,
Yeah.
which I'm glad for.
All right. So
All right.
I don't have my flat pick. I don't know why my flat pick's
Oh.
out. It's all right.
And
Thanks
before
for joining us, Phil. It's been a pleasure.
before Bill closes us out, we just want to say thank you guys for tuning into another episode, and see you in the next one. Yep, you are worth it.
Stay
and
nostalgic.
Stay nostalgic.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Yes. All right, there you go.
Okay. It's a crazy world. Don't you know it's true? It's a crazy world. Don't you know it's true? But I don't mind it, 'cause I'm crazy too. The day I was born, my parents looked at me. The day I was born, my parents looked at me. They said, he must be ours, as crazy as can be. They say you're crazy, they say you're nuts, they say you're local, no ifs, ands, or buts. They say the school is nobody's home, but the lights are still on. Don't be sad, don't be blue, 'cause when they say you're crazy, they give you lots of room. Are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Yeah, you C-R-A-Z-Y. Why are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Don't be sad or blue, 'cause I'm crazy too. If you wanna be crazy and you don't know how to do it, if you want to be crazy and you don't know how to do it, just follow me, baby, there ain't nothing to it. They say you're crazy, they say you're nuts, they say you're local, no ifs, ands, or buts. They say there's a screw loose, the marbles are gone, there's nobody home, but the lights are still on. Don't be sad, don't be blue, 'cause when they say you're crazy, they give you lots of room. Are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Why are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Are you C-R-A-Z-Y? Don't be sad or blue, baby, 'cause I'm crazy too.
Bravo! And remember, everyone, here's a joke. Remember, everyone, as Bill sings in the song, because we're still sort of in the middle of a pandemic, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Or, as they also say, lavate las manos.
Lavate las manos.
Spanish. Wonderful song. But anyway, thanks again, Bill, for,
all right, fellas,
for joining us. And thanks to everyone for tuning into another great episode. Stay nostalgic. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
And from all of you, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Bye-bye.